For the second time this season, Formula S lands in North America for its second of 4 races that we will be having here in the continent. First was Las Vegas, now we're in Canada for a fan favorite of the AMCI, now making its Formula S debut in Circuit Gilles-Villeneuve. Welcome race fans to the Formula S Throttle House Grand Prix of Canada, held here at the legendary Circuit Gilles-Villeneuve, one of the fastest racetracks in the world, but as is the case in the AMCI, also one of the most challenging racetracks in the world. My name is Sebastian Cortez, and before we get going here today, let's walk you through your starting grid. On pole position for the first time in his motorsports career will be John Whitaker, joined by Dylan Baptista in the front row. In row number 2, it's Prix and Valerie Paredes making up an all-female row. In 5th and 6th place today line up Min Kim and Aiden Yoder. Luis Paredes and John Wagner will line up 7th and 8th respectively, with Tristan Tobin and Amelia Ann Fuchs making up your top 10. One of the hometown drivers, one of 2 at that, lines up 11th. It's Ridwan Hinchcliffe, lining up alongside the winner in Australia, Angel Morales. The last time we were racing, he won in his home race. It's Monaco's Ridwan, lining up 13th, with Brennan Flexman, the second hometown driver, lining up 14th. 15th and 16th go to John Fitzgerald and Kayleen Pham respectively. Lining up in row 9, 17th and 18th go to Lizzie Salem and Tina Namian, with 19th and 20th places going to Ricardo Bautista and Diego Vasquez. Jimmy Spock and Sergio Morales will make up the back row for today's grid, so let's go find out how those two will fare out and will the rest of the grid as we get ready to race here in Montreal. So, as we get ready to start here in the Canadian Grand Prix, all eyes are on Ridwan. Last time out, he won in Monaco, which is his home race. He hopes to make it 2 victories in a row here in Montreal. So let's see how it fares out for him. John Whitaker on pole position for the first time. 5 lights are on, it's lights out, and away we go here in Montreal. John Whitaker gets a good start. Dylan Baptista alongside him, also with a decent start. But watch the run in turn 1 here, everybody. Here comes Whitaker, and he's going to make it cleanly. And we have some action further back, focusing on Tristan Tobin here. Oh, look out! Look out, there's a 3-car incident, and Tobin is in it. Tristan Tobin is in another incident. This has not been his ideal season for him at all, and it only gets compounded here in Montreal with a turn 1 or 2 lap 1 incident. Look out! That's Dylan Baptista, everybody. That's Dylan Baptista who has flipped, and he is now on his side as if he was a skateboard of some sorts, but he isn't. He's in a race car. And I think that's his race done, unfortunately, on only the first lap. Let's check a look at the replay and see what happened. We're focusing on Aiden Yoder over here, and we see Dylan Baptista gets turned. And that's because he and John Whitaker were racing very closely, but they both just ran out of room there. Just these types of racing incidents, but a very bizarre result of it, as Dylan Baptista retires from this race on his side over in one of the turns on this racetrack, as Prix goes for second place ahead of Aiden Yoder, but Yoder is fighting back. So unfortunately for Dylan Baptista, that's his race over for today. But Valerie Paredes, in the midst of all of that, has taken the lead of the race with Aiden Yoder and Prix second and third respectively. Here we are focusing, never mind. We are now focusing on Luis Paredes, Valerie's teammate at McLaren, currently running in 7th place. With Ridwan Hinchcliffe right behind him. Ridwan being one of the 2 hometown drivers here in this race today. So our pole sitter in John Whitaker is now running in 4th place after that incident with Dylan Baptista. But he is okay to continue, and he's now chasing Prix, who we are on board with right now, running in 3rd for Hyundai N. As Yoder and Lee, they're both trying to cut as much ground as they possibly can against each other, but to be fair, for some reason, every single driver has been cutting that corner, so honestly, I don't blame race control if they got tired of correcting everybody. That said, here we are focusing on Angel Morales, the brother of Sergio, who's currently, Angel is running in 9th, while Sergio himself is running down in 19th. So obviously, the younger of the 2 brothers have the advantage here right now in Montreal, as Luis Paredes makes a move for 6th place against the Ferrari of John Wagner. But Wagner is not holding back. This fight is still on, folks. We'll have to keep an eye on that, as Tina Namian just grabbed the fastest lap of the race, and Min Kim, this is his first taste of the top 5 right now, would you believe it or not. Aston Martin has struggled quite a bit this season, so it's good to see one of their drivers currently running in the top 5. The other driver, Ricardo Bautista, is down in 16th. As we continue to watch Min Kim chasing after John Whitaker, who sits in 4th. As Min continues to chase John Whitaker for 4th, the rest of your top 10 are at least Butta that's currently in 6th, ahead of John Wagner in 7th, with Guy Hinchcliffe 8th, Angel Morales 9th, and Brendan Flexman, the second Canadian driver, also in his home race today, in 10th. Ridwan, meanwhile, is right behind Brendan Flexman, and Ricardo Bautista, here he goes side by side against Tina Namian. He's going to get the move done pretty easily. So Ricardo Bautista moves up to 15th and now has Lizzie Salem in front of him. We'll see how he will be able to fare out against the Ferrari of Salem. Remember, she already has a race win under her belt in Las Vegas. As John Whitaker catching up to 3rd place against Prix, we'll see if he can make the move sometime soon. But for the time being, he's going to have to hold out just a little bit longer, as he's still just behind the 3 car. But it shouldn't be too long before he makes that move. We know what John Whitaker is capable of. Man has put in some serious moves to get race wins, or, well, several times now, but only recently did he get his first race win, and that was in the AMCI with the final race of Season 2 at Auto Club Speedway. But he fought tooth and nail for that one, so definitely expect him to pull off the same type of stuff as Whitaker. There he goes. We're talking about it right now. He's going to try for 4th, and he gets it done. John Whitaker moves up to 3rd place, actually, and puts Prix out of the podium position for the time being. And now he's going to go after 2nd place with Aiden Yoder. Not so fast. Here comes Prix to the outside, and a tremendous run from the Hyundai. She's going to get both Yoder and Whitaker, at least momentarily. Yes, she does. A tremendous run from the Hyundai of Prix. She moves up to 2nd place and now has Valerie Paredes over 3 seconds ahead of her, or roughly 2 seconds, but no matter what, Valerie, we haven't talked about her today. She loves what she's seeing in the back of the rear view mirror of that McLaren. I'd say this is definitely a battle you want to keep an eye on. The battle for the podium, as Brendan Flexman and Guy Hinchcliffe both battling out to be the top driving Canadian here in this race today. At the moment, Guy Hinchcliffe running in 9th does have that title, but Brendan Flexman is only 1 position behind him. And we have a whole train of cars right over here. So we'll see how they start making moves with only 3 or 2.5 laps remaining in today's race. As John Wagner currently running in 7th place behind. Oh, look out, we have a massive incident there. That will be a virtual safety car, and they just keep crashing into each other. That was Aiden Yoder spinning out of control, and we believe it's Prix who took flight in the midst of that accident. So let's wait for a replay, and that is Aiden Yoder. Here's a replay of the incident as Prix and Aiden Yoder hit the wall at the same time. Lee goes flying, and that unfortunately is the end of her race. We'll have to get a word from the infield medical care center to see if she's fine. As Whitaker, you just noticed him drifting out of frame. Somehow he manages to keep it clean, but as for Yoder, more cars just they don't have enough time to react, and they're just pounding into the number 44 Toyota, and that severely hinders Aiden Yoder's efforts for today's race. Somehow he's still okay to continue, but he definitely will not be on the podium this afternoon, which is a huge miss for Toyota, having fought very well today, but this is how it's going to end for them, unfortunately. What a tough break for the number 44 team. So, after what one could say was one of the most bizarre incidents that we've seen this season in Formula S, thus far, might I add, Guy Hinchcliffe has moved up several places, and he is now in 6th place, ahead of John Wagner for Ferrari. Diego Vasquez is currently running in 16th. Here we are following him, and he's right ahead of Amelia and Fuchs in 17th, and Sergio Morales, who's right behind them both, in 18th place. He's going after Amelia and Fuchs to try and move up one more spot before this race is done. And there's only one more lap before this race is done, as Valerie Paredes has just taken the white flag. John Whitaker in 2nd place, currently almost 5 seconds behind Valerie. Unquestionably, a dominant performance here by Valerie Paredes, taking the lead of the race right in the first lap and just not looking back thus far. If she can keep it clean the rest of this lap, she will grab her first Formula S race victory. With John Whitaker currently in 2nd, Luis Paredes in 3rd, but that 3rd place is under threat by Angel Morales, who's right behind them. Here we are on board with him as he tries to chase down Luis Paredes for that last spot on the podium today. We'll see if he can grab it. He's getting close. He's getting dangerously close. This could be an interesting finish here as we go into the hairpin. He's going to try and slam on the brakes here, but he's just a little too far behind. So Valerie Paredes will hold off everyone else, it seems, but Luis Paredes thus far is holding off Angel. Meanwhile, coming around the last chicane, Valerie Paredes to the finish line and to the checkered flag. She is your winner of the Formula S Throttle House Grand Prix of Canada, as John Whitaker gets home in second place, and right at the last corner, we barely missed that cut, but Angel Morales will take third place ahead of Luis Paredes in fourth, with Min Kim rounding out your top 5 and Kayleen Pham for Alpine rounding out your top 10 today, just behind her teammate and Ridwan at Alpine in 9th. Well done everyone for a great race today, and as for Tristan Tobin and Aiden Yoder, we're hoping for the best for them in the next few races. They will definitely need some turnarounds here in order to get their seasons back on track. Alright, let's talk about your race results here as Valerie Paredes comes home to take her first Formula S race victory. She gets it done for McLaren, so well done, Vale. John Whitaker will come home in second place after a stellar comeback from fourth, and actually starting on pole position at that as well, with Angel Morales rounding out your podium today with yet another solid result following his victory in Australia over his brother Sergio Morales. We see the rest of the results are as shown, with Ridwan and Kayleen Pham being the last 2 drivers in the top 10 this afternoon. As we see our 2 DNFs, Dylan Baptista and Prix Lee, both getting involved in absolutely bizarre accidents, of which we've never seen in any sort of motorsports event. But the good news from both is that they are both okay. They will both be able to continue on for the rest of the season. Now let's talk about your championship standings, as Ridwan is still in first place, but with her race win today, Valerie Paredes moves up to second place ahead of Angel Morales, who's currently in third. So here's the rest of the championship driver standings as things currently stand. Have a look where you wound up or where your favorite driver wound up at that. Of course, as we mentioned before, this continues to change drastically as we continue on through the rest of the season. Only 2 drivers have yet to score points. Those are John Fitzgerald and Jimmy Spock, but they are progressing up the field, so it'll be interesting to see how they continue to progress on their way to their first points finishes of the season, hopefully very soon. So that's the AMCI Throttle House Grand Prix of Canada. Be sure to join us for the next race over in the United Kingdom for the Carwow Grand Prix, being held at one of the most legendary circuits in Grand Prix racing overall, that being Silverstone in the UK. We will see you all over there then. But until then, be kind. See you all at the next event.